Okay, so Power of the Doctor. Yeah, it was kind of what I thought it was going to be. It shares a lot of elements with a load of other stories kind of mushed together, and it has that kind of Chris Chibnall philosophy that he kind of had during Flux of shove as many possible things into the mix. Because the story itself, if you actually look at the plot of the story, it's pretty bare bones, and there's a lot of filler in it. But I'll give this story this: wasn't boring. It wasn't boring. A lot of the bits in the plot don't make a hell of a lot of sense, and it just kind of shoves things in as is. But okay, so there's that in terms of that regards. Spoiler warning at the start of this because yeah, I'm just going to talk about it, everything in this. So yeah, so these are just my thoughts of just finishing watching the story. And so yeah, it's one of those things, and I don't know why every new series Doctor Who finale has to be now just like shove every single monster and returning villain or returning this just into it for finale. Admittedly, that didn't happen in Peter Capaldi's last story, although to be fair, that one also had a returning David Bradley as the first Doctor, and it wasn't meant to be his last. Story just ended up that because Chris Chibnall didn't want to do a Christmas special. But yeah, this kind of script. Basically, I mean, there was loads of memes going around before this story came out of just like playing the Chris Chibnall drinking game, and yeah, the people who did actually play that game, someone better call an ambulance for them because they're probably passed out on the floor choking on their own vomit. Because every one of the Chris Chibnall era things is in this. The constant location swapping with the big title cards, the time jumps all around the place, the insert a maybe slightly less than famous backstory of someone, although admittedly this time there's not a bloody massive Wikipedia dumping on it, so there's that. There's that I can say. But yeah, things are just back just to kind of be back, like Ashado, the lone Cyberman, is back and revealed to be a clone that the Master cloned. And I'm not sure why he did it. I'm really not sure because there was no purpose to him doing it at all. But it's just like, hey, he's back. People remember that. I mean, to be fair, the actor who plays him is pretty good, so. And basically, it's the only Cyberman, I think, really, from the new series that is in any terms, in quality to David Banks as Cyber Leader. That is the highest praise I can give him, basically. No, he's not as good as David Banks, but to be fair, he doesn't have as good a material to work with. The Daleks are back. And, how are they defeated again? Like, we see Ace and, spoiler alert, Graham blow some up, but, like, there was multiple Daleks underneath multiple volcanoes in and across the world. So, yeah, what happened to the other Daleks? Because, as far as I'm aware, the only thing that was going to stop them was turning the lava into steel. So, shouldn't those Daleks, still be there? I don't know. And also, the Daleks work and the Cybermen working with the Master in an alliance because of their hatred of the Doctor. Does this sound familiar? It should sound familiar because we had it over a decade ago with the Alliance in the Pandorica Opens. So, yeah. And here, it makes a bit even less sense. Like, literally, they're just all there. I mean, the Daleks I can understand to a better degree, mainly because, they've worked with the Master before, but there's no, like, betrayal. Like, the Daleks never attempt to kill the Master, betray the Master in any shape or form, and really, that was what was missing from that. The Daleks are just kind of here just to be here. And there's also a traitor Dalek as well that, is just there because, it's a traitor Dalek, and I was just getting vibes of Dalek Khan from that Dalek, to be honest. So, yeah, it mixes and matches a lot of different ideas in there, but claims them as new. The forced regeneration thing, I just can't get my head around it. Like, the Master saying he wants to erase the Doctor from existence. Yeah, the Master, the Doctor becoming the Master was not exactly what I pictured when he was talking about that. I thought literally just like erased from the timeline. But no, apparently that was not the case. So, yeah, I don't know why. And that plot doesn't really go anywhere, to be honest. Yeah, he kind of fucks around with Yaz for a bit, and then when comes back, change back into the Doctor, okay. I mean, it just kind of happened. Now, obviously, there was also the return of classic Doctors. We got David Bradley, we got Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and Paul McGann, which, who's the only one who's in his original costume in this. At least from Night of the Doctor. So, it was nice at least to get another Paul McGann appearance on Doctor Who in TV, So, yeah, and obviously we got Tegan and Ace in this as well as some other very, very quick cameos at the end. But yeah, it's a lot of nostalgia baiting. I'm going, mate, it's nostalgia baiting that works. It is, and the reason is because it's the actual actors, coming back. They don't really have much to do in the story, most of them. Most of them don't have that much to do in the story. I would say Tegan probably has the least amount to do, really, in the story, other than stop a Cyberman conversion, really, But it did tickle my nostalgia just seeing them there, and, seeing Sylvester McCoy and Peter Davison in their original costumes as well on screen. So, yeah, that was nice. But I will say, God, the opening sequence is dreadful. it just looks so... The green screen and the visual effects just look so bad during that bit. And it goes on for so long. Like, seriously, this story takes half an hour to actually get going with its plot. The first half an hour just feels kinda just like, oh, this is happening there. This is happening there. It kind of feels like, a lot of the time, that first half an hour kind of feels like the first episode of Flux, in a way where it's just jumping from this to that, this to that, this to that, and doesn't really get going until, after all this jumping around is done with. But yeah, what I was surprised about is Dan's departure is at the start of this episode. Yeah, Dan is not in this episode very much, which is why all his teasers are in the trailers is of him in the battalion spacesuits. Which, yeah, and Dan just leaves. I thought he was gonna leave, but then, we'll do the thing of, okay, we'll have the departure at the beginning so it's not rushed in at the end. But then he somehow, because of everything that's happening, is forcibly involved. But no. Now, after his departure, he is gone from the story. Apart from a brief appearance at the end, he is just gone from the rest of this story. Just completely gone, which, yeah, his departure was just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave now while I'm still alive and, get back to normal life. And, oh, I've got a date, and this is just like, this is the problem with Dan, just like, there's nothing to him. And really, like, don't you think, Chris Criminal, you should have spent maybe those other two specials, setting up some things for this departure? But no, just there it is. And I'll talk about the Yaz departure as well, because the Yaz departure, I don't know what to think about. Because, so basically, if you didn't know, Yaz has been in love with the Doctor for most of her tenure. And basically, she says she's never going to leave the Doctor, blah, 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 blah. And then when the Doctor starts regenerating, she basically decides that, without saying it, that she's going to leave, basically. And Jodie Whittaker, as Doctor, just says, "Oh, I think I'd like to do this next bit on my own." God, this story's literally killing me. When she's talking about the regenerations, it's just like, what? Because one, I'd be thinking, well, if she did truly love her, then I thought it could have gone one of two ways of it. I would have much rather the Yaz going just like go because she wants to remember the Doctor as she remembered her. But no, that isn't the case. That isn't the case with this, so yeah, I don't know. Like, her kind of departure just kind of feels like, a sort of nothingness to it. Now, I will say performances are generally pretty good in this one across the board, and there was a few nice directed sequences of the Cybermen when they invade the unit base. There was some nice sort of visuals and stuff on that in there. But, yeah, this story is just kind of like, I mean, I'll give it this, It was alright. I mean, it was enjoyable. Vinder was back for... I really don't know why, but he was back. Hooray. Excuse me. That prediction of Vinder's and what's her name's baby being the Doctor, well, that never comes to any fruition in here. Yeah, when you actually think about this story as a story, there's not a lot to really say about it, to be honest. It's just kind of a load of things just thrown at you, just like, ooh, nostalgia. But it's an enjoyable enough nostalgia experience. Like, there was nothing in this one that I particularly hated. And this may be the 13th Doctor story that I do actually rewatch. Not buy it, but I'll rewatch it on BBC iPlayer, possibly at some point. Just because there's enough in there just to go, oh well, and it was nice to see Ace and that. It was nice to see them. That, yeah, okay. Now, the regeneration. It literally turned into fireworks. It literally turned into actual fireworks. Pretty much. On top of a cliff. And all the rumours you heard about it, yep, true. The only reason I think they did it on top of a cliff is because, rather than in the TARDIS, is because they were dismantling that TARDIS set. I believe that is the reason why. Because the TARDIS set would be dismantled before the second half of the regeneration could be filmed, so I believe that is the reason why it was done. Also, something in this regeneration is you don't see the morphing. And that's something they don't really do much now. I mean, from Capaldi to Whittaker was just kind of a whoop, quick one. With Matt Smith up to Capaldi, it was obviously the sneeze regeneration, which I quite liked. It was like a surprise. But yeah, basically from Tennant to Smith was the last time they actually did the sort of morphing from one Doctor to the other. And this one, it's just a massive sort of CGI effect. And for some reason, the Doctor's clothes also regenerate with the Doctor. Okay. Why? How? I seriously don't know. But yeah, if you didn't know, if you've somehow lived under a rock for the past God knows how long, yeah, she regenerates into David Tennant, setting up the 60th anniversary, which there's a trailer for it immediately after this episode finishes. But yeah, but all I can say is it's over. You know, things are looking up. Things are looking up. Trusk has gone, Chibnall's gone, and Jodie Whittaker's gone. Yeah, and you know, I did quite like. I did. I don't know. I quite like the fact that the Master actually did kill the Doctor this time. I'm not sure in what he did to actually make that thing actually hit her, but hey, at least it was, because this Master actively hates the Doctor. Sasha's Master actively hates the Doctor. The other Masters, basically are either having indifference or basically, that they'll kill the Doctor, all right, but they won't make the Doctor suffer, and they quite like, the playful back and forth. Sasha's Master, seems to really just despise the Doctor. But yeah, that was the end of Sasha's Master in this, and yeah, I don't know what really was planning to do after that, but okay. I mean, they could have teased it with him starting to regenerate or something, but nah, I'm not gonna have that. But yeah, that basically, I imagine, be the end of his mask. And he says, he's leaving with Jodie, so yeah. But yeah, it was all right. It was all right. I mean, for nostalgia, it was great. But then again, that's just after my first time watching it. I imagine I'll probably not watch the full story again. It'll probably just be clips I'll watch of it again. But yeah, I mean, I think this is the only Chibnall story from his era that I'll, pardon me, or of this era at all that I'll actually watch again. So yeah, kind of a ramble at the end, but it was all right. It was all right. Yeah.